is taking a fully voted contest and seeing whether...
I don't really want to move on because that's one of the major concerns.
Okay, but the answer is we invited him and we've told you the reason
and
that
he was out
invited.
of wire. He couldn't touch anything.
Wait.
He really hasn't touched anything. I mean, come on. I'm on your side too, but like he hasn't touched anything. He hasn't been involved.
I know he hasn't touched anything.
We don't know what his electronics are doing.
Right. But he's going to open the machines and verify that there's nothing in there that could do anything.
So
or not.
Let's be very clear.
Please.
We have a voting machine which is so old technology that you cannot really influence that machine with anything else than almost destructive force.
Unless something's sitting inside.
And believe me, he's not happy about their findings today because
machine,
his machines are
discovered
incorrectly reading ballots, so he's not happy.
He's not happy, right?
Like,
So
this makes him look very
We have
bad.
been talking already how to get
That's
videos.
exactly
and we
my
also have
point.
promised a couple of
So
people
they're not
who
like
want to have a
covering
picture
for him in any
inside.
stretch of the
That
I didn't
we
say
can
they
let
were.
you in,
You know what I
but
mean?
we
Like,
can
I
take
think
your
you're worried
camera
about them
and
inviting
take
him, but,
pictures
like, I
for
think it
you
does actually make
inside.
sense.
No, but
This
if
is
there's
this
any...
is so old technology. This is not like modern.
The guy has a vested interest
small
in the outcome of
components
this.
which are unmarked. This is old technology. This
And presumably he was embarrassed by what just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if he's feeding you guys information on procedure,
No, but we have to follow the official procedures
It's
if we
his
are going to do
machine.
maintenance.
I mean, they didn't build it.
I mean, the whole thing here is,
if we did
again,
something that didn't follow their procedures, then it's on us if things don't work out correctly. We need to go by the book.
And I want to remind
I get it.
that what the state legislators wanted us to do is to operate this as closely as possible how it was done in actual election day. That means following the procedures.
Well, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Going back, I had no idea that they actually knew these folds already could do this prior. So was it the Secretary of State's office that knew?
I have to trace back because that was mentioned to me before we even started, that the conversation took place about the potential problem of folded paper stacking and producing results slower. Also the whole work of loading the ballot. So there was a discussion about using more expensive envelopes.
Yep.
The whole thing here is that I don't think anybody expected that the folds will be causing this trouble, but folds cause trouble elsewhere. You see how, for example, when we were doing the machine count, and there were more people, so the moisture of the room started to go up. You started to have misfeed after misfeed after misfeed.
There's the labor of doing the folding to stuff the envelopes. There's the labor of flattening them when they arrive back, at the place, and there's the fact that they tend to misfeed more frequently.
Okay.
So that's a lot of extra work.
But was there
for the
any
local election
beforehand
officials.
knowledge that folds could be counted as votes?
So there is 10 years ago, I was helping in Florida we were studying what problems can be with foldings. And that study was more about the ink being, because they fold only once. So there's an ink transfer. Bleeding through doesn't happen because there's no vote target on the other side. That's what happens with that. However, when you fold that ballot, you can have ink transfer. So we were doing at that time exactly the same, superimposing images, looking for trouble, if there's anything what happens. And we didn't at the time look for this. And again, if you look the manual, you have an instruction where the folding score mark has to be placed. That score mark was placed in a place. If the folding would have been done along that lines, none of these problems would happen. So there is an instruction which is supposed to safeguard against this. And again, if voter gets a folded ballot, what is the likelihood that the voter will be deliberately trying to fold it somewhere a little bit off because the paper actually is resisting? When you have the weakness, it wants to bend in that place. So this is a perfect storm also, because whatever reason, that folding machine is folding paper diagonally randomly. And the diagonal folding, first of all, this is the first time I have ever seen that. Maybe there's a maintenance issue in that folding machine. I don't know what causes the diagonal. But the diagonal, actually, if you see the image which I produced, you see how it converges in the center of paper, and that voter target is in the center of paper.
So kind of however it goes,
this is almost like modern airliner doesn't come down because of one thing. You have almost a conspiracy of coincidences. This didn't happen because of one thing. Multiple things happened, and they converge to this point. This is not. We still don't know what is the reason for the two machines to be
so
disagreeing.
different. Yeah, I mean, one of them was
Both
making
I know,
mistakes
I
at
saw
twice
that.
the rate
Yeah.
of the other.
Yeah.
So
confusing.
I'd love for your viewers to explain why we did two sort of elections and what the
Please,
difference
yeah,
is.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
So the first one was designed to see whether this effect could take votes away from the Republican candidates by turning valid votes into overvotes according to how the machine interpreted that marked oval. The second experiment was designed to see whether the fold could add votes to Christy Saint Laurent if somebody hadn't filled out all four ovals, and in particular hadn't marked hers. So if the fold goes through her target and there aren't already four selections and she hasn't been selected, could it turn into a vote for her? So the second was set up to do that. So the instructions were, again, vote along straight party lines, but in that particular contest, either vote for one Democrat but not her, or one Republican and not her. Okay, and what we found was it was adding votes to her. I think the highest number of votes we saw was 48 votes for her on one of the machines in one of these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it was pretty
Thank you for
revealing.
following up with what. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't mean to
this
cut you off
explains
earlier.
both. I mean, so again, there's a lot of work to do still. This may not be it certainly isn't the only thing that's going on,
Yeah.
but it explains both the subtraction of votes from the Republicans and the